Hello everybody, today we're going to be doing some fun filler content as my puppet Kringle asks me some questions from you, the audience. You know, it's been a rough couple months. I've been eating a lot of sad egg cookies and I've been, just trying to figure stuff out. But, I'm back slowly trying to get back into the grind of content creation again. So of all the questions that you guys have given me, let's read off some of the more interesting ones. Kringle, hit me with one.
Alright. What the If you could include one North American cryptid in a campaign, which would you choose?
This is tough. This is a tough question. There's a lot of really good cryptids. For some reason, even though I don't know anything about Mothman, my brain immediately goes to Mothman for some reason. And I don't know quite why. It seems like an interesting thing where it's sort of like a neutral cryptid creature that's trying to like give warnings and stuff. And of course, there's also Champ, aka the Lake Champlain Monster. One summer, I went on a campaign to try to kill Champy, and I never did. Ironically enough, I'm going to be running a game in Icewind Dale, and in the Rime of the Ice Maiden, there's actually a whole like little section which kind of is like the Lake Champlain Monster encounter thing, which is pretty great. So yeah, but there's just so many North American cryptids. I mean, all the variations of Bigfoot and the skunk apes and stuff like that. That would be really interesting to do different concepts on that.
This has probably been asked. How many campaigns / adventures did you finish throughout the years? Jesus, that's a lot. I can't quite. That's a lot.
So I do a heck of a lot of dungeon crawls for various reasons. I've done a couple campaigns last year. I ran through 2 separate Ravenloft campaigns, and I don't remember if I ran through the Trevorn campaign. The Trevorn campaign is the one like really big campaign that I've written up, and I'm always running that. That's kind of like a political intrigue style urban setting game, but in a very limited fashion. I would say it's kind of like Last Man Standing, where there's just a whole lot of like factions happening. PCs come into town as sort of like a neutral faction, and they can kind of decide where to put their allegiances and what side to back. And it's always interesting to see how different groups handle this campaign. Generally speaking, though, it's just been a lot of dungeon crawls. I've been running games for public librarians, which is really fun, and I've pretty much run through all of the stuff that I've written so far, and that's just been a lot of fun. And yeah, I just need to really just consider what other written stuff I want to do. Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, I believe, is the next one that I'm going to try to go and adapt for my own style of game. Goodman Games did the big, huge book, so I own that, so I'm going to look through that and see if that might be something I can potentially get going for my next games for my camp.
What is the best advice that you've been given about RPGs? We're not going to answer that one.
I just like miniatures because it's a physical representation of what's happening on the table. There's a lot of creativity that can happen when you're using something like that, and I don't know, it's just neat. I got Arrested Development. I didn't have enough stuff when I was a kid, so now I'm a pack rat, and I like little toys. Yeah, what can you say? Like, you can try to say that, oh, well, it really is a situation where you need the miniatures, but you don't need the little men. You don't need the little men on the table, but it's just fun. So I like to do it.
Wow, it's a question about me. How old is Kringle?
How old is Kringle? This is a great question. Kringle was actually made in 2017. And he has changed my life ever since. He is a great puppet. He's a puppet that I made myself in a puppet class, where it was an improv class where you made your puppet, and then you ended up using that puppet for improv stuff. And Kringle's a really fun guy. He helps out like with the he helps out with the local library stuff and everything like that. And yeah, it's just another form of creativity and whatnot.
And finally, they want you to say something nice about 4 E.
All right, finally, I'm just gonna say somebody asked me, could you say something nice about 4E? And ugh, I will say there is one thing that I really liked about previous editions. 3E did this really well, and I think 4E. This is one of the things that 4E actually did really well because it was codified. This is the Dark Sun Creature Catalog. It's one of the few 4E books that I still have. I sold the majority of them because they were kind of useless to me. But yeah, the lore rolls. For every monster, almost every monster listed in this book, there's a lore roll where they can roll a specific skill that they have, and they will learn more about the monster in question. And sometimes if you roll higher, then you'll actually learn more. Mostly if it's a natural creature, then nature rolls will let you know more about their habits and disposition. And depending on what you have, you might have a different roll for like Arcana or Nature, depending on like what kind of creature it is. For the Cloud Ray, you could roll both. So for example, with the Dark Sun Dragons, if you rolled for History, you would learn a certain paragraph of knowledge. But if you rolled Religion, then you would know different knowledge. So this is really interesting, and I really like how it's very specifically spelled out in the rules. Hey, if you roll this well, then you know this much. If you roll a little bit lower, maybe you'll know a little bit less, and then if you know different stuff. This is very helpful, actually, in making sure that people who have these skills, which sometimes aren't very useful, suddenly become really useful. Sadly, in 5e, it's somewhat vague, and pretty damn vague, actually. It leaves a lot up to the DM. So, oh my god, the 40 people were right. 5e left up too much stuff. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, it's too vague. It should be. I don't know of any specific examples. I was looking through my books. Maybe there are specific examples where some of the official books do bring back these specific lore things. I think there are examples of that. But if you look in just the generic Monster Manual book, you're not going to find this. There's no... As far as I know, with the regular book here, there's no little lore table which gives you a direction to go for people trying to roll stuff. Instead, it's just sort of like it's sort of vague stuff, which is a real shame because the person who's writing up the monster would be the best to give you a starting point, that's what the 4E thing is. It's a starting point to try to like figure out, okay, you live in this world, you know about these monsters, and then this is going to help you figure out a little bit more. It just makes the individual PC's backgrounds seem way more important, and it makes them way more useful. It helps the teamwork aspect too, because if you have very different characters working as a team, they're going to be really powerful because each of them are going to be really good at different things that are going to be very useful during different parts of the campaign. So there, I said something nice about 4E. Are you happy? This is probably the last time you're going to hear that. All right, that's it for the Q&A. Thank you very much for stopping in, listening to it. If you have any more questions, let me know in my community tab the next time I ask, or just send me an email or drop in the Discord. I'll leave the link to those things in the description below. You have a nice afternoon. I'm working on my weird miniature iceberg video. I'm working on a bunch of Goodwill Find stuff. I'm working on some crafting stuff. What is the other big thing I'm working on? There's something else. I don't know what it is. I'm knuckling down, people. Just let me cook here. Let me do this a little bit. So, all right, yeah. All right. Peace out.